What if Animal Crossing in the future could bring back some of these childhood nostalgic memories using the games that we all used to play as kids and incorporating them in a setting like Animal Crossing? Well, that's what we're going to be exploring today here in the Nintendidn't So We Did podcast, episode 13. And welcome back to the Nintendidn't So We Did podcast. On here, I like to yap about all things Animal Crossing and Nintendo related. So if this is something that interests you, make sure you subscribe today. If you couldn't tell by the balloons behind me, I'm just celebrating a birthday. And yes, I'm getting older than I want to admit on camera. Oh, now my cats are going to go crazy with these balloons in the background. So now you get some fun scenery while you're watching the podcast. I think it's so fun to relive childhood memories all over again, especially as I'm getting older. It reminds me of the childhood games that I used to play. You know, games like hide and seek, where you would hide and people would totally come and find you. I had friends. Another game that I remember is Ghosts in the Graveyard. When we had some friends over, we would hide in the dark and you would run around with flashlights trying to find the one person as the ghost, and then you would yell, "Ghosts in the graveyard!" and everybody would try to run away from them. Another game, and I don't know if you played this as a child, and you can let me know in the comments below, but is Cops and Robbers, or whatever you called it back in the day. And Cops and Robbers basically worked like you had a bunch of people who are cops, and then 1 to like 3 robbers that would run around, and you would try to hide as the robber, or as a cop, you would try to, catch those robbers and arrest them and put them in jail, and then another robber could come and release them from the jail. It was a fun game, and I reminisce on these memories quite often as an older adult now. Animal Crossing has been that game that is a getaway for me and an escape from adulting, to relive childhood memories and also make some new ones. And there were a lot of memories that were made in New Horizons, but not as many as in the games past that were as memorable as the games you could play, the mini games you can play with friends, and all the features that are pretty much missing from the New Horizons installment of the game. Well, back in New Leaf, you can actually play full games of hide and seek that had a timer. If a villager would ask you, "Hey, do you want to play a game of high card, low card?" No, it was nothing like that. The same repetitive game over and over and over again with the cards. It got annoying after a while in New Horizons, didn't it? It had a lot of these great mini games, not only there, but on the island, where you can go to Tortimer's Island, and Leilani just queues up these game tours that you can go on, whether it's fishing or you can play a 4-player game and you can whack the Cornimer lawnmower with the squeaky hammers. It was just such great nostalgic fun that I look back on fondly. Well, New Horizons kind of chopped all that out and said, we don't need any of that multiplayer stuff. You don't need any mini games. We're just going to add these boring little nuanced things and you're going to be happy. Well, I would really like to bring that back for the next Animal Crossing game, and I think you would too if you were actually one of the lucky people to experience this back in the day. And so, I'd just like to share a little bit about my thoughts about the hide and seek games that can be played in Animal Crossing Small Town Big City, which, by the way, is my fully conceptualized document that I have available to you to see right now. If you'd like to check it out in the link in the description, it'll take you right there. In the comments below, what is a childhood game that you used to play when you were a child that you fondly remember playing with your friends or even just by yourself? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's talk about hide and seek. So hide and seek in the past worked a little like this. A villager would walk up to you. They would say, "Hey, do you want to play a game of hide and seek with me?" You would say yes or no if you had the time. And then them and 2 other villagers would appear in whatever your town square was at the time. And so it would trigger a game. They would disappear, and you would have to go find all 3 of them hidden in places without your town. Now, some of those places included behind buildings and trees, and that was pretty much it. We were limited to those things back in those days, but it was still a lot of fun. It was a unique mini game that you could play with your villagers and interact with them. So any opportunity that we get for new and interesting interactions with villagers would be welcome and exciting for a new Animal Crossing game. But what if they didn't just leave the kind of confines of the game to just hiding behind buildings and trees? Well, the truth is, in this game, I'd like to make it a 360-degree camera view game where you can freely move the camera up and down, side to side. It's not necessarily a fixed view unless you choose to play it that way. But what if there was a little bit more detail into this, since now you have this free camera? They just can't easily hide behind buildings all the time because you can see the buildings from all angles. So what if they hid inside buildings? Like, what if they hid inside of a shop? What if they hid in other places as well, so that you had to use the whole map in order to find your villager friends? So I thought that'd be a really cool thing to bring back in a future Animal Crossing game. But I don't want to belabor that point because that's not necessarily what this video is about, although this video is about childhood games and things like that. No, I want to talk about the live cops and robbers that can be happening within the big city portion of my game, Small Town Big City. Now, before we fully dive into how this game is going to work, we have to talk about the two teams that will be participating, the cops and the robbers. And luckily, we have some characters that fit that description in the series already. Yes, Copper and Booker are two NPC characters that were cut from Animal Crossing New Horizons that were present in almost every single game up until that point. I'd like to bring them back and have them have a distinct role within the big city. As the story goes, that Tom Nook hires Copper to patrol the online space for offenders of their city laws. Booker is his tag-along partner, and he is rather lazy and really only likes being in the city for the overabundance of donuts that the cafe makes. Now, as you enter their security office, you will see a holding place for mischief makers and a chart that displays all the silly laws of the city, which are as follows. Number 1, no gang shall be formed on the server. Mischief from gang activity must be stopped. Number 2, only walking and bikes allowed on the Animal Crossings. Number 3, all vehicles must stay on the roads except for bikes. Number 4, no tools must be used in the big city. Number 5, no digging allowed in the park. Number 6, no dropping items on the ground. Number 7, all underground entrances unauthorized by Security League must be closed. Number 8, no counterfeit furniture may be sold from vendors. Number 9, standing still is frowned upon. Sit on a seat to avoid being asked to leave. And number 10, all donuts sold in the big city must be delicious. And that is the 10 rules of the Security League. Now, this might give you some hints as to what some mischief makers might be doing in the city as well. And we'll get to them in just a minute. But the Copper and Booker Security League, which, by the way, is the cops and robbers game that I've been hinting at this whole time, is located in the rural district and accessible all hours of the day. You can't just be too careful at any time of day that these mischief makers might try to create their mischief. If law and order is how you like your server or how you like your life, then joining the Security League at the security office can ensure less pranks and help fight all forms of misconduct online. Now, not every form of misconduct is innocent in this context. There is a sense of real misconduct that we need to talk about. We heavily covered different censorship things that we can do to create a safe online environment. Nowadays, especially, it's very important that we keep children and young people safe online through different filters and different things that are available, parental features, if you will. But even with those filters, there's always going to be elements of offenses that happen, whether it's cyberbullying, racism, hacking even, that Nintendo will not want to have persist in their game. And so on top of these fun, misconduct things that we're going to be talking about that some people can do in the robbers portion of this whole game we've been talking about, there is some serious misconduct that we need to cover as well. every person on the server would have the responsibility of reporting things that are not right so that somebody else will not see those and be hurt by it or be offended by it. And so let me talk a little bit about misconduct and what we can report. So the types of misconduct that you'll be able to report when you click on a specific person or a specific item, maybe that's being displayed in a player shop, is types of harassment, cyberbullying, explicit language, obscene artwork or patterns, racism or discrimination, hacking, sharing of personal information, or other. This is very similar to a lot of other online sites where you can report a player if they're doing something that is inappropriate or some sort of violation of the big city rules. Of course, we just read 10 rules that make absolutely no lick of sense, but there are going to be some rules that are stated when you go to the city as well that are very plain and very clear to see. So while the protected chat modes will keep you safe from certain words, that doesn't protect against players' shared custom designs that are displayed in shops, certain constellations that can be made, you know what I'm talking about, sussy things, or even QR codes in apartment spaces. And so, as a member of the server, we all would have the responsibility of reporting misconduct of any kind, even if you are not part of the security league. Of course, moderators, Nintendo people, will be working to censor misconducts, kind of like they do in games now, like Super Smash Bros. For certain stages that are made, or Kirby Air Riders with certain vehicle patterns that people can make, while algorithms censor names on players, default chat conversations, or patterns or QR code names. So there's blocked names, as you can imagine, just like most anything that has some sort of filter on it as well. All right, now that we talked about serious misconduct, let's talk about some of the less serious things that come with joining the Fun Security League. So on an average day on the job with Copper and Booker on the Security League, it really depends on who you talk to. So if you talk to Copper, you're going to get one set of tasks, or if you talk to Booker, you're going to get a set of a little less intense, a little bit more fun tasks. So here are some of the tasks that Copper gives you. Most of his tasks revolve around teaching you to spot server misconduct and gang activity, like roaming certain areas for mischief, looking through fake patterns to spot counterfeits, or quizzing you on the rules of the server. Now, Booker's tasks are a little less intense than that and work like fun mini games, like getting him a specific flavored donut within a time limit, sorting junk mail, or finding the best napping spot in the city for AFKing. Now, each task completed per day will gain you some bells. You can only complete certain tasks per day, limiting how much you can do for them specifically, or just you don't have to do any task at all if you want to when you come on the server every day. So, but every day is an opportunity to join or not join in with the work that needs to be done on the server, right? With no pressure. However, becoming a Security League member is most exciting when you are involved in the server-wide game of cops and robbers, which doesn't pay, but can be a fun way to sleuth and catch the moles in the cop role. Well, who are these moles? Let's see. What characters would fit in the description of mole? Well, luckily we have two moles in the game already, and their roles have been incredibly diminished. One doesn't even appear really in the game at all, and that is the Resetti brothers, Mr. Resetti and his brother Don Resetti. And I think these would be the two characters that would be perfect to fill this whole robber role here on the big city servers. So we are going to be revisiting the secret area that was available in City Folk, New Leaf, and it's called the Resetti Surveillance Center. Now, the Resetti Surveillance Center is set up in the depths of the big city. This is located underneath the park, and it's home to the club, run by the boss, Mr. Resetti, and his brother Don. Mr. Resetti can get a little hot-tempered, but he isn't as angry as he was in the original games. He's just somebody that you don't want to double-cross. Don Resetti, his brother, is a bit clumsy and is always getting caught on stakeout missions. You may have to bail him out of a few sticky situations here and there. Now, you will only have access to this so-called Resetti Surveillance Center once per day at a certain time. Now, in the past, if you ever came across the Resetti Surveillance Center in the city, in City Folk, you would know just how rare that occurrence is. So it's not going to be as rare as that, but that feeling of just coming across this little hidden Easter egg because a cone was moved and all of a sudden the light is on underneath this sketchy little bridge. You walk in and you see Mr. Resetti there in his kind of chair, and he is like, "How did you find this place?" Well, this is kind of going to be the essence of that. Now, you will only have access to the surveillance center once per day at a certain time. The way you find the location of the entry point varies if you are on the gang or not. So, step 1, if you've never joined the gang before, you have to find the hidden door in an underground tunnel portion of the big city. When you find that door, it will trigger a text box similar to the whole crazy red membership in City Folk, I guess is how you can think about it. It requires a password to enter. When you find that password through a series of events, you can join the gang and you can move on to step 2, which is make your way around the city once per day and wait for a whisper to pop up on your screen as a text box. This whisper is locational, so you'll see it maybe in the distance. And the closer you get to this text box, it will reveal a little area that doesn't look like anything much. Maybe it's a tile on the ground. Maybe it's a crack in the wall or something like that. But a whisper becomes a voice. And that voice says, hey brother, just so you know, within this time limit, we're going to be opening up this surveillance center, and I'm going to give you your mission of the day. Get ready. And so that is Mr. Resetti whispering to you, saying, this is going to be the secret location of the opening today specifically. And there's going to be openings scattered around the big city. So you never know where the opening is going to be on any given day. A timer will then pop up on your screen, indicating how long it will be till that location pops up. Now, step 3 is you can choose to tell friends or other server members that are in the gang about this. Or you can try to hint to security members that it's happening way over there. That's where the mission is going to happen. I'm a mole. I'm a rat. I'm an intel. But then the door opens and everybody floods in and the security members are all the way on the other side of the server. And upon the timer running out, it will reveal the hidden entrance that will open up before your eyes. Then you can enter in the boss's reset center to receive your daily task from Resetti or Don. Now, what are these tasks? Well, the tasks that Resetti brothers give you will differ per day and per person. Mr. Resetti will give you some mischief tasks that are more mean-spirited like sending junk mail to villagers, equipping your inventory with a graffiti emote to colorize the city in the name of the Resetti Gang. And Don's tasks, well, they're a lot more goofy in nature. They include the ability to drop banana peels to make villagers or player characters trip. Or maybe he gives you the ability to equip a squeaky hammer and you can hit people with that. Or maybe even turn all the donuts at a shop into gross trickster donuts. And as you could probably tell, that'll make a certain dog who likes donuts on the server very angry. Completing tasks will get you what's called gang credit. Now, this is not bells necessarily, but these can be used in the hidden dumpster dives store as a currency, amounting to 10,000 bells per credit. However, becoming a gang member is most exciting when you're involved in the server-wide game of cops and robbers, which doesn't pay, but can be a fun way to cause mischief as the robber role. All right, now that we've gone into both the roles of the Security League and the Resetti Gang, are you starting to see how this can play out on the server? Let's talk about the Cops and Robbers daily server-wide game. Upon becoming a Security League member, you have the fun task of catching the moles on the server anytime you go on duty. Talk to Copper and go on duty to be on the lookout. He will give you a security whistle that you need to wear at all times, and the ability to click on a player and press the Catch the Mole button that will appear. You can click that anytime, even if the player is not a mole. An on-screen log will tell you 3 prompted options with a fun message. The player was not a mole prompt. The player was another security member prompt. Oops. And the player was a mole prompt. If you suspect you have run into a Resetti Gang member due to their behavior on the server, aka they're using a squeaky hammer or maybe a shovel when tools are prohibitively banned on the server, right? Remember, that's rule number 2, I believe, something like that. You can click that catch the mole button to send them to the holding place in the security league. This is like the jail in the game Cops and Robbers. They will get a 5-minute timeout where you play a mini game unless another gang member can break them free by entering into the security league undetected and breaking them free. That's called a jailbreak, in those games. Once broken free, players will be sent outside and unable to cause mischief until they re-enter their surveillance center for another mission. You can also gather intel to find where the Resetti's hideout entrance is located. Once you find the entrance yourself, make your way into the surveillance center and make it past their anti-security system with a short minigame for you. If you do succeed, you will have access to the center. You're in. Once a certain amount of Security League members have made it past the anti-security system and into the center, a cutscene will play for anyone who is gathered there. Don and Resetti are getting into their ejection seats, sounding the alarm and making a hasty escape through their tunnels, thus escaping the mischief for the day on the server until the next revealed time. Now, being a Security League member does have its responsibilities. Like I said, there is daily tasks to do, but the sleuthing, catching, and disabling of the security of the moles is a fun way to experience a thrilling day on the server. Now, what if you want to play the robber role? Well, the Resetti Gang is the way to go. Upon becoming a Resetti Gang member, you have the fun task of causing mischief on the server anytime you decide to enter the surveillance center. Talk to Mr. Resetti and go make mischief and try not to get caught. Now, these pranks that he gives you to play, you might want to keep this on the down low, especially if you suspect that a Security League member could be nearby. You can click the prank button. This is the kind of equivalent of the catch the mole button for the robbers on a villager or player at any time. And an on-screen log will tell you 3 prompted options with a fun message, similar to the cops. The player was a bystander prompt. That means that they weren't participating in this. You're pranking them just for the fun of it. The player was another Resetti Gang member prompt. Oops. History doesn't take kindly to double crossers, does it? Or the player was a security team prompt. And then you get the rich feeling of getting to prompt somebody who's on the security team. Now, if you suspect you have run into a security team league member, then hit the prank button to temporarily stun them while you make a clean getaway. So by pranking them, it will, whether it's them tripping or they're hit with a squeaky hammer and they're stunned in place for a minute, allow the player to get away and cause a couple second cooldown for that player to kind of make their way into the security league if that's what's needed to be done to free their security league members. So this maneuver of being able to make this clean getaway really is helpful if you're trying to free other members or if you just want to do a prank and get away with it, But they can get you later if they recognize you. Another way to suspect if somebody is a Security League member is the obvious. They're wearing their whistle and they're actively on duty trying to catch gang members. The next thing is if a Security League managed to catch you in the act, they will put you in a 5-minute timeout in their security office holding place, where you have to play a minigame of boring chores with Booker. You can be broken out early by another gang member if they enter into the Security League undetected and break you free. This is where that temporary stun of the security members kind of comes into play, ending the mini game early for you. So those chores can be cut down to 2 minutes or instantly if you can get somebody in there to free you. Once broken free, you will be sent outside and unable to cause mischief until you re-enter their surveillance center as long as it's still open. But beware, a Security League member could follow you there and cause the game to be ended until next time. Being a Resetti Gang member does have its drawbacks, but the prankage you cause in the meantime is priceless. To see the look on a security team's face when you have graffitied all of Nook Square with Resetti's angry face. This is how the game begins and ends. Number 1, the Resetti Surveillance Center opens, triggering the official game on the server. Number 2, Copper calls you and asks you to report for duty. You can opt out or in at any point in the game or not. Number 3, the Resetti Gang gives you an official task and prank button, while the Security League gives you the security whistle and the catch the mole button. Number 4, catching the mole sends them to the security office, disabling their prank button until they find Resetti again to reinstate the task. Hitting a Security League member with a prank stuns them temporarily, leaving them unable to follow you. The Resetti Gang members, number 5, can free other members from the holding place early, while Security League members can enter into the Resetti Surveillance Center by passing their anti-security system mini-game. And finally, number 6, the game officially ends when the Security League gathers 20 plus members in the Resetti Surveillance Center and the brothers flee, ending the game for everyone on the server. So that is how your childhood game of cops and robbers could play out here in Animal Crossing Big City. So, what did you think of my concept? Would you like to see mini games like this back, like hide and seek and cops and robbers for the very first time? If so, let me know. And I hope you liked the concept today. That's all for this podcast today. A little bit of a shorter one for you, but I hope that you found it interesting and a little bit of a deep dive back into some of your nostalgic childhood memories. Well, my name is SoopaKoopa with the Nintendo Didn't, So We Did podcast. We'll see you on the next one when we cover some more big city topics. Take care. This has been the Nintendo Didn't, So We Did podcast. You can find us here on YouTube or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for more podcasts just like this one, where we dive even deeper into Animal Crossing Small Town Big City, my fully conceptualized Animal Crossing game. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.